From getting punched in the face to being shot with a gun, here are 4 times dumb influencers messed with the wrong people. Starting off with Sneo, whose overflowing ego clouded his judgment and resulted in several instances where he found himself biting off a little more than he could chew, one of which being the legendary Penguin Zero conflict. Sneo would go against the grain about the controversial movie Cuties that was on fire for its pedophilic antics, claiming that people are overreacting and going as far as to say it was one of his favorite movies. He received a lot of flack online for his comments, but nothing developed quite as much as when Moist Critical would criticize Sneo online, essentially calling him a creep. Sneo would then retaliate by launching personal attacks at Moist Critical for several weeks, calling him a man-child, underexposed to the sun, and would even attack his girlfriend. On the 21st of November 2022, after several weeks of abuse, Penguin Zero would drop a video titled "I Didn't Want to Talk About This," finally responding to the constant attacks, where he would expose an embarrassing story of Sneo getting cucked,
where he openly defends getting cucked.
As expected, this incited an emotional reaction out of Sneo, and he would eventually threaten Penguin Zero with a gun. But Moist Critical's calm and intellectual response to Sneo won over the hearts of the fans and left him feeling embarrassed, as he would correct his incorrect gun terminology, all while subtly flexing that he was heavily armed himself.
They're mags, not clips, you—
flashing guns much larger than Sneeko's and insinuating that they're not for decoration and he would use them if needed. Sneo may have gotten away untouched in this case, but he wasn't so lucky in February of 2024 when he would step into the octagon with ex-UFC world champion Sean Strickland and get beat half to death. Although Sneo may have messed with the wrong guy here, at least he demonstrated some courage to step into the octagon. But the same can be said about arguably the most annoying creator in existence, Jack Doherty. His reckless, obnoxious, and irrational approach to content creation has put him in all kinds of dangerous situations and conflicts. His safety was compromised, however, when he messed with the wrong people, like the time a full-blown fight broke out in his home when he pissed off the Island Boys.
You be more up.
The conflict would linger around for quite some time until it reached unprecedented levels when a fight broke out between the Island Boys and Jack in a Sprinter van, and Jack's girlfriend got hurt in the process and broke into tears. Lucky for Jack, he has the money to run his mouth as much as he wants and then hide behind his security guards for protection. But when he got into a similar conflict with Fousey, Jack wasn't so lucky. On August 23rd, 2023, Jack posted a video titled "Fousey got arrested for this." For context, at the time, Fousey was having an extreme public manic episode. Mania is defined as a period of extreme excitement or euphoria, delusion, and overactivity. The video started off well, with FouseyTube giving Doherty respect for owning a mansion and supercars at such a young age of 19 years old, but would suddenly flip when he started accusing him of faking his pranks. Fousey's aggressive and brash energy would follow him as they walked into the mansion, and surprisingly, Jack remained relatively calm, handling Fousey's aggression well despite being disrespected in his own home. But everything was about to change when out of nowhere, the Island Boys arrived. Neon and the Island Boys would get into a minor conflict, and manic 33-year-old Fousey would virtually force Neon and the Island Boys to hold a boxing match. As expected, Neon would lose, but Fousey would become very angry when they didn't share on the fighters, calling everyone in the room beta males. Jack took this opportunity to butt in and give Fousey a taste of his own medicine, calling him a beta male back. But this would be the worst decision that he could possibly make, because everything was about to get a lot worse. Fousey would absolutely erupt in anger and start throwing water all over Doherty. Jack would then do the same, covering Fousey in water, but what happened next would shock you. Fousey would lose his temper and smack Doherty across his face. Apart from a little smack, Doherty was able to get away relatively untouched. But when Zerka acted like a big tough guy with the wrong person, he was met with a lot worse. Originally gaining fame from sit-down streaming, he would then diverge to glorifying drugs, promoting ridiculous conspiracy theories like the flat earth, and constantly criticizing popular personalities like Andrew Tate, all while claiming to be a devout Christian. His erratic personality would eventually lead him down the path of starting a beef with HS Tiki-Taki and Aiden Ross, going as far as to make disrespectful remarks towards HS Tiki-Taki's mother and Aiden Ross's ex-girlfriend Pammy. Zerka then made a public statement saying that he would find HS Tiki-Taki and fight him on the streets. Unfortunately for Zerka, however, he didn't realize that HS had a fighting background and got laid out in the streets. A classic case of F around and find out. But at least Zerka was able to keep his life in this conflict, because YouTube prankster Tanner Cook messed with someone who didn't have anything to lose. Tanner is famous for pushing the envelope and imposing his will on his prank victims, and can get away with it because of his massive intimidating frame standing at 6'5". Unfortunately for Tanner, however, he isn't bulletproof, and one day got a response he never expected when he was shot in broad daylight. On this day, Tanner learned never to underestimate the public, especially because you never know who you're messing with. To learn more about the 5 deadly sins of YouTubers, click right here.